A few miles away from the Las Vegas Strip is downtown Vegas, an area that's rich with old Vegas history but is now ripe for revitalization. And that's the goal of the Downtown Project, a $350 million initiative headed up by Zappos CEO Tony Hsieh.
About 3 or 4 years ago, a number of Zappos employees, myself included, started hanging out in this area of downtown called Fremont East that most tourists don't know about. Most tourists, when they think Vegas, they think the Strip. But then there's this whole other side of Vegas that we had discovered in Fremont East where you'd have no idea you're in Vegas. If anything, it's almost like the anti-Strip. There's no gaming. Everyone here is super friendly.
About 5 or 6 years ago, a bunch of cool entrepreneurs in Vegas who've been here for a while really decided they wanted to help sort of recreate the downtown of yesteryear, the place that was the center of Vegas. Stuff is happening here, and it already was sort of happening before we got here, but we've been able to help kind of catalyze that growth even more.
So as part of that, we formed a separate company called Downtown Project, which is just privately funded by myself, Fred, and a couple other people. And the idea is to help make downtown Vegas a place where you can have everything you need to live, work, play within walking distance, and help make it the most community-focused large city in the world. The Downtown Project has a $350 million budget, and roughly it's being divided into $200 million into real estate, $50 million into investing in small businesses to help build a sense of neighborhood and community, $50 million into tech startup companies to kind of help jumpstart that, and $50 million into education, arts, and cultural stuff. It's not us transplanting a culture here and trying to impose it on the community. It's that I think the two will really play well off of each other.
EAT is actually the first project that was fully funded. I was on my way out of town and he said, "What can we do to keep you in town?" I said, "Nothing." He said, "What about your own restaurant?" And I said, "I don't have any money for a restaurant." And he said, "Well, what if you didn't need any money for a restaurant?" And I said, and about, I don't know, a couple minutes later, Tony walked in and introduced me to Tony. And Tony, first words out of Tony's mouth were, "What size restaurant do you want?" He's like, "I know who you are. What size restaurant do you want?" And so it took about 8 months. And for me, it's a perfect situation. Who does that? Like, really, who does that? Who just goes, hey lady, you want a restaurant? And I go, "Sure." And he goes, "Okay, I'll see you in 8 months." And then he comes and goes, "Nice, okay."
So Stitch Factory, it's a fashion incubator, a creative educational center, and then a co-working space. We've actually had quite a few people come in and that maybe are graphic designers or, you know, need to do some editing and they don't want to do Samba Latte or Starbucks. They'd rather be in a space that the energy's flowing, it's creative, and you can be a part of something. What Tony and the other investors, Fred and all of them, are doing and investing in it's amazing, it's beautiful, and it's great for the community, it's great for the people that live here.
We had actually been looking to build our own campus for, I think, at least the last 7 years or so. But then as we started thinking about it more, we realized that those other campuses were great for their employees, but they were actually really insular and didn't really integrate or contribute to the community around them. And so we kind of flipped the thinking and thought about, well, instead of investing in just ourselves, let's invest in the community, invest in the ecosystem, and in the long run, that's going to help us attract and retain more employees. And it can be a win-win-win for the city as well as for the company. You know, I think part of the excitement is you don't get very many chances in your lifetime to help shape the future of a major city.
You know, in a lot of places it can be pretty cutthroat, right? You're competing against the person next to you, whether or not you're in the same industry or not. You want to just beat everyone down. But here it's like people are so friendly and helpful and collaborative that everyone wants to make sure that the company next to them or the person next to them are going to succeed. And so that's, I think, a really unique part of what's happening down here in Vegas.
There's a really crazy cool vibe right now, and everybody's really interested, and the community is really stepping up to the plate, I think, to support it. And I think it's going to change. It's like, just get involved. It's awesome. I mean, look.